to be a plant-based eater and you can't have high protein tofu or mock meats and things, what are you gonna eat to get even all the calories that you need? So the doctor told me that I'm just gonna have to eat like animal products.
Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. So I want to give a big shout out to the viewers of my last live stream who suggested that I check out this video from this very popular YouTuber, Megan Bowen. She has like 800,000 plus subscribers, gets tons of views, and you guys want me to watch it, not for the fitness and beauty tips and stuff, but to see what she said about why she could no longer be vegan. So I checked it out, and she said she couldn't be vegan for medical reasons, that she has IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And as we'll see, because of complications that she experienced because of IBS, her doctor said that she should quit being vegan and start eating animal products once again. So let's watch the video here and see what Megan said about her condition, her food allergies and stuff, and see if the actual advice that she got from her doctor and the information that Megan brought to this decision really is factually true. And I want to state from the upfront here, I'm not making this video to bag on Megan. I give her kudos for being brave, having a medical condition, and having to struggle through it and try to find the right solutions. I know how tough it can be, and I give her kudos for not like throwing veganism under the bus as many others have done if they have IBS or something like that. So anyway, let's see what she said, and let's see if there is a way for her to remain vegan given the conditions she has.
So when I first went plant-based and I realized that foods were making me bloated, I just thought, oh well, bloating is just like a part of life. Like, it's a part of life. But if you have IBS, you know that the bloating is it's just not cosmetic. It actually physically hurts, like, to move.
I mean, that sounds horrible. Bloating that causes physical pain. Yes, I would want to try to find a solution to that as well. I also want to add here too, I don't know her whole medical history obviously, but it sounds like she had IBS before she went vegan. So before some anti-vegan hater comments, well, she had to quit being vegan because it caused her IBS. No, she had to deal with it before, sounds like, and she's dealing with it as a vegan.
I started trying to have less fiber in my diet because I'd realized, like, eating plant-based, that it was the fiber for me that made it a little bit difficult for my intestines to move around. So I kind of went on a higher fat, plant-based diet.
So here's where I think Megan actually caused herself some more harm, and I'll show the literature here. I'm not just making stuff up here. This is a very evidence-based show here. Anyway, she said her intention was to reduce the amount of fiber in her diet, believing that was causing her IBS to worsen, and instead move on to a higher fat plant-based diet. So let's see what the actual science says about IBS and fiber intake. So according to the study I just showed there, and according to the standard accepted mainstream medical view, is that IBS is caused by a deficient intake of dietary fiber. Remember, Megan thought she should actually decrease her fiber intake, causing more of a deficiency. Anyway, and most physicians recommend that patients with IBS increase, not decrease, their intake of dietary fiber in order to relieve their symptoms. Great, done, handled. All you got to do is eat a bunch of fiber-filled foods and your IBS is gone. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way if you have IBS because there's two types of fiber, and one type, the short chain, actually causes the exact same symptoms that Megan had, the flatulence, the abdominal pain, and the bloating, while the other type of fiber doesn't have. In fact, they're low gas production foods, and these are the kinds of fibers that you should be eating if you have IBS. So let's take a look at some of these high fiber foods that are good for people with IBS. They don't cause all these horrible symptoms that Megan was experiencing. And as you'll see, these are common foods that most of us eat all the time, including avocados, bananas. I have these every day, 8-9 banana smoothies sometimes, Brussels sprouts, carrots, chickpeas, which is a legume which can cause trouble, lentils, another great legume, oatmeal, okra, fruits like oranges, more legumes like peanuts, potatoes, berries, seeds, the list goes on.
Eating a lot more, nut butters and things like that. And that helped a little bit, and incorporating like high protein tofu and stuff.
But unfortunately, I didn't see any mention of any of these foods that I just showed here, which help with those IBS symptoms. And notice how she said at the end there, high protein tofu. And we'll return to that in a moment because I really think she's equating being vegan with this need to get a lot of protein because, this misconception that vegans are deficient in protein or our foods are lacking in protein. But let's continue on.
From there, I started getting more and more like bloated, and especially doing like fitness stuff, I have to eat a lot more than I did when I was just thin.
So I'm not too surprised that eating a bunch of nut butters didn't help her IBS. In fact, made it a bit worse. Really what you're looking for this kind of diet that doesn't worsen your IBS symptoms, the type of fiber you're looking for, it's sometimes it's referred to as a low FODMAP diet. And if we look at like a meal plan here, what vegans can eat on a low FODMAP diet, and tofu is one of the recommended foods. So that shouldn't cause the trouble, but there's more to it than that.
So I went back to the doctor, and they ran a whole bunch of tests and like checked and did like scans. She showed me the pictures, and I was actually like so shocked, but my intestines were actually bleeding all into my abdomen, and so everything was swollen and everything was bleeding.
So yes, that's quite serious, and she said that her doctor said if Megan had waited a few more days, quite possibly she may have required surgery to fix her bleeding intestines. So this is major, and before some anti-vegan says, look, a vegan diet caused her intestines to bleed, no, it's from irritations due to IBS, due to fibers that cause these symptoms. As we'll see here, she had a food allergy to soy.
Allergy and intolerance tests came back, and then we found out, one, that I'm allergic to soy, which is why even though when I cut down on my fiber and I was eating all that high protein tofu, things just got worse, like really bad. Because I had realized that beans are really bad for me.
I really feel for Megan here because for a regular IBS patient, eating tofu is fine, but unfortunately she has a soy allergy, and therefore needs to give up eating her high protein tofu. And someone let me know, is this is how she calls it all the time? Does she always call tofu high protein tofu, or is there a special kind of tofu out there called high protein tofu? Because I know tofu is relatively high in protein, and I think this is what leads her to the next series of decisions she makes, which leads her to decide or conclude that she can't be vegan, because she says, or thinks, we'll see here, she's thinking that if she can't eat any more protein, high protein tofu, how could she possibly be vegan? What left is there to eat?
Anyway, so I can't do soy anymore, which, okay. And we found out that I'm allergic to cucumbers, which sucks. And seitan and like mock meats and stuff, can't do beans, can't do tofu. What are you gonna eat?
There's plenty to eat. It's really easy to be vegan and not eat tofu and mock meats. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here, because we walk this talk here. We have 2 books that Angie wrote, Keep It Carb Baby, the Happy Healthy Vegan Cookbook. There's 80 recipes total in these 2 books, and only one of the 80 has tofu, or that's it. There's no others with mock meats or anything like that, so it's quite easy. It's kind of like a newbie mistake, and not saying she's a newbie, but a lot of people think, oh, if you're vegan, you have to eat a bunch of tofu, and you can, as long as you don't have a soy allergy, but you don't have to. It's quite easy to be vegan if you're a little more creative, to avoid tofu and mock meat.
And especially if you have to keep under a low amount of fiber, which is something that the doctor told me. I have to eat under 35 grams of fiber a day or so.
Like what? What's with this daily maximum of fiber that her doctor advised her to do here? Because remember, as we showed, fiber is not the problem. I mean, as far as eating too much fiber, fiber deficiency is more associated with IBS than anything. Remember, it's the kind of fiber. Certain kinds of fibers irritate your intestines, and others are just fine with your intestines. So I don't understand this 35-gram maximum. And as you'll see here, I think this dietary fiber restriction that her doctor imposed on her is going to lead her to quit being vegan. And again, this is completely unnecessary. It's all about the kind of fiber, not limiting all fiber completely. And I want to say I'm not a medical doctor here, but I disagree with their advice.
Which, to be a plant-based eater and you can't have high protein tofu or mock meats and things, what are you going to eat to get even all the calories that you need, let alone, the protein, especially if you're an athlete like me, someone who works out every day.
What are you going to eat? Well, I've been vegan 10 years and I hardly ever eat tofu. Once in a blue moon, I hardly ever mock meat, just on the occasion when I go to an Asian vegan restaurant. It's all about whole food plants. You don't need to have all these mock meats and tofu all the time to be healthy and vegan and get all your calories. And her concern is that she's an athlete that works out every day. Where's she going to get all her protein, all her what you call it, her high protein tofu, which she relied upon to get her protein requirements fulfilled? I mean, that assumes like there's not any other good sources of plant-based protein. Like I showed earlier from that list of low FODMAP foods that are safe for people with IBS. There's lentils and chickpeas, legumes that aren't as bad on your stomach and have decent amounts of protein. I work out every day as well, Megan, and let me share this with you. I've been taking this whole food plant. It's called duckweed. I've been putting it into my smoothies with bananas and blueberries, which are also on that safe list of low FODMAP foods. If you're looking for a high source of protein, well, since you call tofu high protein tofu, like this has lentine or duckweed has even more protein than high protein tofu. This is even better, more protein, and it has 3 forms of bioavailable B12. I mean, if you're looking for a great plant that's going to work out for you as an athlete, if you need more protein, I can't recommend this enough. And I'm affiliate with these guys, so I just love them. It's a vegan product, vegan run company. Use my code, save 10%. Use Happy Vegan at cleanmachineonline.com. And yes, Megan, like you, I work out every day. I've had my home gym here since October, and I've transformed my body from that of a skinny, long, tall distance runner and endurance athlete to that of the sport I've been playing more recently, basketball, by working out every day. And I have plenty of protein through all my plant-based sources that don't involve soy.
So the doctor told me that I'm just going to have to eat like animal products.
So this advice from the doctor makes absolutely zero sense. And I'm not too surprised. Most doctors really don't know much about nutrition. And I'm not just stating an opinion there. It's a known fact that doctors receive in their entire time in medical school about maybe 3 or 4 hours of nutrition training tops, and very little of that is about plant-based nutrition, if any. And I just think your doctor is just putting out just their own biases here. They're exposing their own biases here because, like I showed you, there's no reason to restrict perfectly fine fibers. Only certain types of fibers cause inflammation and pain and flatulence, and the other types of fibers are fine for people with IBS. And I guess your doctor's thinking, well, you have to limit your fibers, and since you have the allergy to soy, you can't eat the tofu. Where are you going to get your calories? Where are you going to get your protein? As I showed you here, there's plenty of other plant-based sources to get your calories, and especially if you're going to get your protein, there's ways to do that too. So this advice that you have to eat animal products to fill in the gap that you need there for protein and calories is just ill-advised.
It's a little bit difficult, especially if someone like me who always believed that there always must be a plant-based solution. I think if I wasn't allergic to soy, then I still would be able to get away with just eating a lot of high protein tofu and, having little vegetables on the side.
Well, as I've shown you here, there is a plant-based solution. It's eating how we eat here. I mean, for all practical purposes, as a vegan, I kind of eat like I have an allergy to soy, given how little tofu I eat. I mean, I've gone literally like years without having any tofu whatsoever. I'll be more than happy to send you the copy here. I'll mail you a hard copy here of the Happy Healthy Vegan Cookbook and show you how you can eat whole food plants, not mock meats and soy and tofu, just real whole food plants, and be vegan and avoid the types of fibers that cause your IBS to flare up. I believe your doctor meant well, but most non-vegans don't really understand plant-based diets. Most non-vegans, doctors included, have this misunderstanding that, if you're vegan, you have to worry about tofu and eat a bunch of protein all the time in the form of tofu. They assume vegans are eating tofu 3 meals a day or something like that. And as I showed you, that's completely wrong. You can take supplements like I do, which I put in my smoothies, like I showed you, they're full of protein, way more protein than soy even has. So please reconsider this. If you want to get in contact with me, I'll be more than happy to discuss this with you. Because like I said, I don't think your doctor is the most informed person on plant-based nutrition. Not to say I'm an expert or anything, but sounding like from the advice you got from your doctor, I could offer you a little bit of advice or just share with you that what we've been doing. I've been vegan now for over 10 years and everything's working out fine. Yeah, I don't have IBS, I don't have an allergy to soy, but still, I think the way that we're eating here, would work out perfectly for you. So anyway, please contact us. And anyone else here, leave your questions and comments down below. Let me know if you have any medical conditions that make it more challenging for you to be vegan, and if so, how did you overcome them? And did you encounter any medical advice that you thought was maybe questionable and they were convincing, yeah, just quit being vegan? So let me know down below, guys, and let me know if you have any other insights to share with me about Megan's story. Like I said, I wasn't aware of her until you guys told me about her a few days ago. So thanks for watching. Hit like, share this video. Until next time, guys, let's keep it vegan, keep it plant-based.
When does the pain